Hello. Welcome to the Serum Academy reading of Douglas Adams's Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. Now, you might have heard of Douglas Adams because he wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency is the first ever fully realised ghost/horror/detective/whodunit/time travel/romantic comedy/musical comedy epic. Dirk Gently himself is a detective. Well, sort of a detective. There's a long and honourable tradition of great detectives, and Dirk Gently does not belong to it. Sherlock Holmes observed that once you have eliminated the impossible, then whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Dirk Gently, however, does not like to eliminate the impossible. He's far more interested in quantum mechanics, conjuring tricks and pizza than in fiddling around with fingerprint powder. And so his investigations tend to produce startling results. A simple search for a missing cat reveals two ghosts, a dodo and an electric monk, the devastating secret that lies behind the whole of humanity history and threatens to bring it to a premature close. And finally, the utterly terrifying reason why Richard Macduff has had a sofa stuck on his stairs for 3 weeks. Sadly, the cat dies. Chapter 1. This time, there would be no witness. This time there was just the dead earth, a rumble of thunder, and the onset of that interminable light drizzle from the northeast by which so many of the world's most momentous events seem to be accompanied. The storms of the day before, and the day before that, and the floods of the previous week had now abated. The sky still bulged with rain, but all that actually fell in the gathering evening gloom was a dreary kind of prickle. Some wind whipped across the darkening plain, blundered through the low hills and gusted across a shallow valley where stood a structure, a kind of tower, alone in a nightmare of mud and leaning. It was a blackened stump of a tower. It stood like an extrusion of magma for one of the most pestilent pits of hell, and it leaned at a peculiar angle, as if oppressed by something altogether more terrible than its own considerable weight. It seemed a dead thing. Long ages dead. The only movement was that of the river of mud that moved sluggishly along the bottom of the valley past the tower. A mile or so further on, the river ran down a ravine and disappeared underground. But as the evening darkened, it became apparent that the tower was not entirely without life. There was a single dim red light guttering deep within it. The light was only just visible, except, of course, that there was no one to see it, no witnesses, not this time, but it was nevertheless a light. Every few minutes it grew a little stronger and a little brighter, and then faded slowly away almost to nothing. At the same time a low keening noise drifted out across the wind, built up to a kind of wailing climax, and then it too faded abjectly away. Time passed, and then another light appeared. A small mobile light. It emerged at ground level and moved in a single bobbing circuit of the tower, pausing occasionally on its way round. Then it, and the shadowy figure that could just be discerned carrying it, disappeared inside once more. An hour passed, and by the end of it the darkness was total. The world seemed dead. A night, a blankness. And then the glowing appeared again near the tower's peak, this time growing in power more purposefully. It quickly reached the peak of brightness it had previously attained, and then just kept going, increasing. The keening sound that accompanied it rose in pitch and stridency until it became a wailing scream. The scream screamed on and on until it became a blinding noise, and the light a deafening redness. And then, abruptly, both ceased. There was a millisecond of silent darkness. An astonishing pale new light billowed and bulged from deep within the mud beneath the tower. The sky clenched. A mountain of mud convulsed. Earth and sky bellowed at each other. There was a horrible pinkness, a sudden greenness, a lingering orangeness that stained the clouds, and then the light sank, and the night was at last deeply, hideously dark. There was no further sound other than that of a soft tinkle of water. But in the morning the sun rose with an unaccustomed sparkle on a day that was, or seemed to be, or at least would have seemed if there had been anybody there who would have seen it to be anything at all, warmer, clearer and brighter. An altogether livelier day than any yet known. A clear river ran through the shattered remains of the valley, and time began to pass, seriously to pass.